Yo, what's good, man? Another reaction. Whispered Diaries. Three true rainy alone at night horror stories. About to see what they talking about. Stories always be fire. Um, yeah, he's about to be creepy. It's nighttime too, so yeah, I'm ready. See what they talking about. What happened? What's your name?
It
Craig?
was a Friday night, back in 2018. I was working at home on a paper I needed to finish for work, and was trying to get it done so I could enjoy my weekend without having
A paper you need to finish for work? Like work? What you mean?
to worry about it.
Or school? Like,
It was probably somewhere around 10 at this point, but I'd been working in my office for a good 3 hours. This was after a full day already too, so I was getting pretty exhausted. I kept finding myself getting distracted or losing focus,
drink
so
some
I
coffee?
paused what I was doing and stood up to stretch my legs and try to wake myself up.
Right.
I paced around the room a bit, but as I passed by the wall opposite of my desk, I noticed something move in the window.
Got somebody up out there going, Don't talk about you tripping. Maybe it's just a tree branch or something. Nah, somebody out there.
I stopped and did a double take, looking out the window again. I was on the second story of my house, but the window has a view of the front portion of the property by the garage and porch. At first, I didn't see anything and thought my mind was playing tricks on
See,
me.
look, no,
But then
bro.
I saw a bit of movement again. It was a shadow hovering over the sidewalk leading up to the porch. Someone was standing outside the front door, or at least that's what it looked like from the shadow. After looking out the window for a couple minutes and seeing the shadow barely move, I left my office and went downstairs.
Yeah, go and check that
I
out.
leaned on the front door and looked out the peephole. There was a man, looking about 40 years old and bald, with a scruffy gray beard. I watched for a moment. He never knocked or rang the doorbell,
Like, what you
or
want?
made any noise at all.
What's up
He
with you?
just stood there. What started freaking me out more was that I didn't know how long he'd been there for, since I was working and never noticed him until just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, that's a fact. You probably been there for a little man. Like, what's up? Like, you just literally standing outside. Like, what you waiting for him to open it or something? Like, what you want, bro?
Wanting some answers to why the man was here, I opened the door. Immediately, I was taken aback because the man didn't even flinch. His face stayed the same, being cold and lacking emotion. "What are you doing here?" I said in a stern tone. The man continued to look at me, but didn't answer. Then his eyes moved past me and looked down the hallway in my home.
Like, bro, what you looking, bro? You talking about what you doing here, bro? Tell him to leave. What you mean, what you doing here?
I moved the door
Why you
further
asking?
in toward my body to hide the view. "I don't know why you're here, but you need to leave," I said, closing the door firmly. His strange behavior was both creepy and aggravating. Him ignoring me and just standing there made me really frustrated.
Yeah, like,
Then I heard his footsteps begin walking off the porch and away from the house. I sighed in relief and checked to be sure he'd gone away, then went back up to my office.
talk about he sighed and relieved. What you relieve for, bro? Dude, no relive. Like, come back anytime. You see what he did randomly the first time. You don't think he gonna come back? Yeah, just be ready. Don't be relieved.
Trying to forget about the man and focus back on my work, I continued where I left off.
And then he heard a knock again. Watch.
About 5 minutes later, and just as I was beginning to really start working, a sudden knock echoed through the house. It was from the front door, but the knocks were loud,
You know who
like
that?
someone banging on the door with their whole fist.
You know who that is?
Irritated, I got up and quickly ran down to the front door, swinging it open aggressively with the intent to yell at the man. But when I saw him, I quickly changed my mind. Something about the look in his eyes and the way he was standing instantly shifted my anger into fear. I looked down at his hands, seeing him holding something to his side, like he was trying to conceal it from me.
You got a gun, he trying to rob you, obviously, bro. You don't got no, like, you don't got none on you or nothing like that. Like, I'm about to say, like, you should open the door and aim the gun at him or something like that. Like what you want?
All I could make out was the top of a small handle, resembling that of a knife. I looked back up at him, only to see his whole body jolt toward me. I jumped back and slammed the door shut, then fought to lock it, as the man was trying to turn the handle from the other side. Once I got the handle and the bolt lock latched, the man started banging on the door again for several seconds before running away. I stood there with barely any breath in me, feeling my adrenaline still surging through my body. Shakily, I went to the office and called 911. The man was never seen after that, and no real answers to what happened that night were ever found.
Like, dude just standing outside his door. He didn't even knock at first. Like,
why so serious? Flames.
your name TH?
Last winter, I went on a trip to see a few of my friends from college. The drive was 18 hours, so I did it.
18 hours is wild. I wonder if he had to. I wonder if he took a rest or if he drove the full 18. That's wild. I ain't gonna lie. I got a feeling I know what happened this one. He had a little 18-hour drive. He stopped on the side of the road or something to take a little rest. And he ran into somebody.
2 9-ish hour sections, staying at an Airbnb on the way there.
Oh, okay.
It was the same thing on the way back, but I'd booked a different Airbnb, just for fun, I guess. I thought it would be nice to see some different areas and whatnot. Anyway, a bit of heavy snow caused some delays, and I didn't get to the town until 9 p.m. It was a very small area, which I was already aware of, because there were pretty much no big towns or cities at the halfway point of the 18-hour drive. The last Airbnb was in a small town as well, but this one was noticeably much smaller. A few stores bordered the road, but all the houses were either on farms or just really far apart. When I got to my Airbnb...
Yeah, like I told y'all, when it comes to like areas like this, one house, mad, rural, just barely any houses. Like he said, it's one house, but it's houses, but it's far apart, bro. I automatically think something creepy. Like, it's just like the perfect setting for it. Like, nobody really out there. It's quiet. You feel me? It's just like...
It was no different, being pretty far from other houses. However, the outside was somewhat modernized. It clearly had some cabin-style features, but it almost looked out of place compared to all the other houses I could see. I parked on the gravel driveway.
I ain't no real Airbnb.
Went up to the door, putting in the code and going inside the house. I'd seen the pictures of the inside online, and it looked about the same. I went around and checked out all the rooms, then put my things in the bedroom and went out to the couch. As soon as I sat down and picked up the remote, I heard a tapping noise from right behind me.
Somebody in there.
I quickly turned my head, seeing a woman outside the window, tapping on the glass. Her hair was unkempt and long, and she had a crazy sort of look in her eyes. Once she got my attention, though, she pointed toward the front door and walked away from the window. I got up, still with my heart racing from the
You about to get shut up. That's what it seemed like.
unexpectedness of it, and made my way to the door. Knowing it was just some old lady, I didn't exactly feel scared, but I was definitely...
It ain't just no old lady, bro. Somebody with her. You about to get set up. There's people with her. They about to rob you, run up in there and rob something. I don't know. She got somebody with her.
Not feeling safe, either. I cracked the door just enough to talk to her. She smiled and said she needed help.
Nope.
I waited for a second for her to explain, but after a moment, I asked what she needed help with.
Nope.
She looked behind her, saying she lost something in the road just outside the house. I looked out, not being able to see anything past the lowly lights of the Airbnb.
Don't be slow, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, she lost something in the middle of the road in the darkness, right? Where I told she got somebody with her. Don't be stupid and go out there. That's what you about to do. Now ain't no real Airbnb. Like, promise you. He even said when you pull up, it looked out of place. Like, you got finessed.
I'm not really sure I can help with that, I said.
Wait, what he said?
I'm not really sure I can help with
alright.
that, I said. Her smile left her face, and then she repeated herself, like the whole thing about her losing something on the road, repeating it almost word for word. Yeah, I know. I don't think I can help. Sorry, I said again, closing the door. I waited for a minute until I could hear her leave. Then I went back to the couch. I wasn't sure if she was just some crazy lady or if there was something else going on.
Yeah.
But it was just a very strange way to be introduced to the town. I relaxed and turned on the TV, watching some shows until 11 when I got in bed. I think I still felt a bit uncomfortable because I found it difficult to fall asleep.
Yeah, you should have got up out of there after that, man. Like ASAP. Talking about I lost something in the middle of the street. You can help me look for it, bro. Automatically, when I'm thinking, bro, she got somebody with her. She trying like, and what he said is the Airbnb had light, and then what she was talking about it's like dark, bro. Somebody, she obviously got, it's probably like 2 niggas with her or something like that. Go pop out. Like, you should have left immediately. They go come back or they go wait for you, something like. About to get it.
Remember is laying in bed restless for a whole hour, then abruptly waking up sometime in the middle of the night. There was a sound coming from the front of the house. It was quiet, but with the rest of the house being silent, it stood out. My mind immediately went to the lady from earlier as I got up from the bed and nervously walked down the hallway and looked at where I was hearing it from. The front door. I rushed over to stop them, but the door opened just as I got my body against it. I pressed all my weight into the door as whoever was on the other side seemed to do the same. I'm a pretty big guy, so whoever it was out there had to be big too.
Yes.
Because for a moment, it felt like they might actually overpower me. And
I told you, bro. Like, that's exactly what happened. You should have left. Bro, I promise you, if something like that would have happened to me, bro, talking about I need help, it's in the middle. Like, bro, I'm leaving ASAP. I already know what's up. She go try and come back with somebody, you feel me? Or when you go outside, somebody go be hiding, pop out on you, like. And then, you booked the Airbnb, so how the door open? But they got the key to it. That's probably what it is. Like, cause or they probably just broke in. Who knows? But yeah.
Door open, but they gave up after a few seconds of pushing and sprinted down the driveway. I locked the door and ran to the window, trying to get a view of who they were, but they were already past the light. I thought through my options for a second, then ran to grab my things from the bedroom and went out to my car, driving away. I didn't want to be at that house any longer.
Should have been to that.
And I knew police in a small town like that wouldn't be all that helpful. I don't know who was behind that door, but I'm sure they had to have been with the woman from earlier that night.
Obviously, bro.
If I had went out to help her, or if I had woken up even a second later, I don't think I would have been seen again after that night.
Nah, for sure. Like, I had to be God. Like, you telling me you woke up just in time, like out of nowhere? You just woke up, looked down the hall, and you just catch him trying to open the door. Like, you got lucky.
I was out camping in Colorado a few years ago during fall. This camping trip was an impulse decision, as I just felt like going out for the night and spending it in...
Man, all that can't, like, why, bro? Something is bound. You camping, bro? Like, something bound to happen. What's up? Like, what's so interesting about that camping? I already know. Where this one going. Talking about you went out to camp.
Camping trip was an impulse decision, as I just felt like going out for the night and spending it in the calming nature.
And you went by yourself, huh? You out camping by yourself in the dirt. I bet. Watch.
I had walked down a 2-hour trail that led to the spot I set up at.
What?
It wasn't a big campground like all the other places were.
A 2-hour...
This was a small opening at the end of a dirt path that I'd found a couple years back, and nobody else ever seemed to come here.
Yeah, alright.
The forest around the opening was really nice too, and over the years, I've gotten used to navigating it without getting lost. On this day, just an hour or so before sunset, I set out on a short walk around the area. Going for walks around this time is always the best, being that the woods are calm and the breeze starts to set in.
Walking around the woods.
I walked out and around for maybe 20 minutes before I saw something ahead. A man, walking in the woods just like me. He was crossing in front of me about 60 yards out, so pretty far, and he didn't look like he noticed I was there. But what was odd was the way he was walking. He was motioning his hands around and nodding his head, and although I couldn't hear him, I could see his mouth moving like he was talking. I waited to see if maybe someone was following behind him, but no, it was just him talking to himself.
Dude tripping.
Maybe it wasn't something to get overly creeped out on, but I'd never seen anyone out here before, and the man didn't exactly look normal. After a minute though, he was gone. I turned around and went back to my tent, not really feeling comfortable being out in the woods with that guy wandering around. I waited a half hour, then got a campfire going as the sun was now set.
And you still staying, like...
I had a folded chair I was sitting on, and I mostly just thought to myself for the next hour. Not about anything particular, but more in a way to clear my mind.
Just out there by yourself.
Then, about 2 hours past sunset, I heard something in the distance.
That's him.
I moved away from the crackling fire and toward the trees so I could hear better. It was someone talking, or mumbling, far out in the woods. Even stranger though, I didn't see a flashlight or any source of light. He was walking out there in the pitch black. My stomach dropped, knowing it was extremely unlikely that the man from earlier could have just stumbled upon my campsite by accident.
What you... Oh.
I stayed and listened, hoping that by some chance he didn't know I was here and was just passing by.
Yeah, alright, bro.
30 seconds later, the voice faded out. I wasn't fully convinced this was all just chance though. I covered most of the fire, leaving only a small flame burning so it wouldn't create too much light. Then I waited and listened.
Too late, bro. Just, bro, if you doing all this, bro, just leave. Like, what's wrong with you? Why you still staying there for it? Then I was about to say, yeah, that fire, you drawing mad attention to yourself. It's like, bro.
The next hour was unnerving to say the least. I didn't hear or see anything, but it was the anticipation that kept me feeling uneasy. And then, at what had to be 11 p.m. by now, footsteps came rushing from directly in front of my campfire. I shot up from my chair and unholstered my pistol as a man.
Okay, that's good. You got a pistol with you.
Recognized as the one from earlier, ran up to the other side of the fire and stopped just 10 feet from me. He wasn't talking anymore, but instead had a grin. Not an over-the-top smile, but just a slight, friendly grin. As I aimed at him, he said nothing and did nothing. He just looked at me. "Walk away, right now," I said. said under my breath, trying to be as intimidating as possible. He looked me in the eyes, then down at my gun, and then back at me.
There, you gonna have to shoot him, bro. Man, dude is not taking you serious at all. Nigga said he walked up, he ran up to the tent, just stopped there, smiled at him. Dude put out his gun, he ain't budged, not one bit. Just sitting there smiling still. Nigga said he looked down, looked at the gun, looked back up at him like, bro, you go out to pop him, bro. It's the only choice at this point. He think you bluffing. He probably see it in your eyes or something. I don't know. He know you bluffing. Nigga say he looked at the gun, then looked at him, still grinning, just sitting there.
Grin went away, and there was a moment where it felt like he was just about to do something. But then he smiled again and walked off into the woods. I didn't waste any time packing things up with one hand as I kept my pistol out, then left in the opposite direction from where he went. The whole way back, I was so paranoid that I kept thinking I was hearing the man's voice, talking to himself again.
That boy paranoid.
What he was doing out there, and what he was trying to do to me, is anyone's best guess. Had I not been prepared though, I don't think I would have been able to leave those woods.
That's what I be saying. People always talking about, oh, I'm going, in these stories they be talking about, oh, I'm going out camping. Nobody go be out here. Like, bro, why do you think that? Why do you think nobody go be out there? You know it's crazy people here in the world, right? Like, people like that, nigga just walking around in the dark grinning like, it's you in the middle of nowhere. You don't think, like, come on, bro. Why people be thinking nobody go be out there? Think everything just sweet. Like, stop doing that camping.